This is getting to be a regular occurrence, of course. On Wednesdays, we'll be doing this, I hope, for a very, very long time. It's called Better Health with Tripp Family Medicine. It's 8:34, coming up on 8:34, 42 at our studios. Bill Colley with you on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. And Dr. Jonathan Tripp is joining us in studio this morning. First of all, welcome back.
Good morning.
You're going to be quite a familiar face around here.
Well, I don't know if the face is familiar, but I did shave this morning in case the listeners are watching.
One of us did, yeah.
Okay.
He's the clean-shaven one. I've got to get back to doing that. I'm trying to save on razors, that's all.
That's good.
That's the excuse I'm using. Hey, right off the top, for people who don't know a lot about Tripp Family Medicine, because, you haven't been there for 40 years, like some people know their family doctors from I knew my family doctor. He delivered me.
Yeah.
And then years later, I was still going to him when I was an adult. But Tripp Family Medicine has at least established itself in a particular spot and been there now for a while. And if people are not familiar with it, they could easily familiarize themselves with it because it's close by, it's easy to get to, any number of things.
Yeah, in fact, Tripp Family Medicine will, I guess you'd say, celebrate our third anniversary in a month. And we've been, it's on Fillmore Street across from the post office, near what is now Signature Fitness. So Gold's Gym, if you're familiar with that area on Fillmore, that's right where we are on the north side of town. So really easy from a shopping perspective as well as most neighborhoods, at least the north half of the city.
Busiest part of town.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that obviously is a benefit to have that because, as you know, a lot of people have traffic going back through there or that area. They're shopping and they're like, if they have the notion of doing this, and people hear our show sometimes in northern Nevada and the like, and they'd like to do their shopping and maybe see a doctor at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of people do that. They come into town. Once they see you, then they go do their shopping.
We have plenty coming up from Elko, and it's interesting to see how the draw is broadening throughout Idaho as well. And what's fun is our office is a place that once people come, they find out this is not like most doctors' offices. It's a lot more friendly. The environment feels more like a nice home. It's not a sterile environment, and by no means do kids feel afraid to be in our office. In fact, yesterday we had two different families that their 3 or 4 children pretty well took over the office, and that's a typical day for us.
I was going to point out we're 2 days away now, I guess, from the arrival of spring, and a lot more people are going to be outdoors. We've got people who'll be doing planning. We've got people who'll just be out sightseeing. People will work in their own gardens, and we don't think the worst sunburn I think I ever got was at a St. Patrick's Day parade about 10 years ago. You don't think about it in March, but it's the opportunity to get a sunburn will actually increase as we move along into spring and summer now.
Yeah, but right now is when it catches you by surprise. We've had unusually warm weather. I think Friday, again, is slated to be 75 degrees. So people are going to be out. And just like them, on Saturday, I was out working on our new yard. It was a partly cloudy day, and I broke my own rules, had no sunblock with me, and I was pretty well covered in long sleeves and everything, but I found out I am a redneck.
Yeah.
So.
I noticed it myself. I was telling you off air, my forehead and my nose. And really, if you don't do something about that, you can get a sunburn, I guess, now and then. I've heard stories, though, that people who had a bad sunburn at 17, that might cause them issues at 70. And we don't think about that, but there's a long-term effect that can be building up there.
Yeah, I have good old Anglo-Saxon fair skin, and one of the risk factors for melanoma or skin cancer in general is if you've had 2 serious sunburns in your life. And boy, I can tell you I had more than 2. But the truth is we usually don't think about the sun exposure being a problem unless we actually get burned, which is not really the case. There's UVA and there's UVB rays, and the UVA are the ones that are more responsible for the burning per se, and the UVB, although not as predominant, are the ones that are more responsible for the actual cancer causing. So you don't have to have a sunburn to have the exposure that'll bring about a skin cancer.
And skin cancers, sometimes I've heard stories about people not even realizing they had a melanoma, and then it really gets going on them, and they don't, maybe this is why they need a regular checkup in these situations.
Yeah, we recommend that, especially if you're over 30, I would say you ought to do an annual skin exam, because it used to be that skin cancer was just an old people's disease, but frequently in my practices, both here, even in a not so sunny area of Oregon, I've taken basal cell cancers off of faces and ears on people that are barely 30 years old. So that's pretty common. 18 is invincible, but 30, all of a sudden you're not invincible.
A lot more people spending a lot more time in the sun.
Yeah, they start earlier and they get, even though we talk about sunblock, it's put on once and you spend 8 hours or 10 hours in the sun, that you got protection for a few hours, but you got full blown sun exposure the rest of the time. So we enjoy being out. I encourage being out. I'm a big proponent of vitamin D. So people say, well, if I'm out in the sun more, I get more vitamin D. You do, but there's better ways, and I have some of those ideas.
That's coming up in just a few minutes. The lengthier portion of our show is just ahead, and the doctor is also available to take some of your telephone calls as well. It's 8:40. 43 is our temperature. You're listening to Top Story. Dr. Jonathan Tripp is here. Better Health with Tripp Family Medicine. And Bill Colley with you on 1310 KLIX and News Radio 1310.com. We have a caller looking to join Dr. Jonathan Tripp, who is here in studio with us until 9 o'clock this morning. Better Health with Tripp Family Medicine. And Doctor, we've got a caller online waiting, and I think she's got an important question. Anna's joining us. And you're on the air on News Radio 1310 KLIX with Dr. Tripp.
Well, thanks. I just had a question for the doctor about a spot on my jaw, on my skin, and it's red. There was a blemish there, quite a few months ago, and since then it heals and then reopens and then heals, and then it's just really weird.
Yeah, no, what you just said is perfect, because anything that doesn't seem to heal appropriately, like you say, is just weird. That's worth looking at. There's a couple of things that come to my mind right off, and that is this could be a totally non-threatening, what's called a sebaceous cyst, that is similar to a pimple. On the other hand, it could also be either a basal cell or a squamous cell cancer that is, does it actually turn into like a scab or anything, or just kind of opens up and gives
Yeah, it actually, the skin actually, forms a thin layer over the top, and then all of a sudden it just sort of peels away as I'm washing my face or using a washcloth. It peels it away, and then it oozes a little, and it's just really weird. It's not very big, but it's just there all the time.
Yeah, and what it's oozing is not like from a pimple. It's more just like a clear liquid. Yeah. No, this sounds like a superficial scab. If you had, skinned your knee as it heals, it'd be kind of similar, but this one won't go away. That's definitely worth coming and taking a look at.
Okay, sounds great. And then the other question I had was, my little granddaughter, I'm 60 years old, and my granddaughter has come down with mumps. I was born in 54, so I didn't get a, mumps, immunization.
Right.
I've never traveled out of the country, so I've never gotten that immunization, and I've never had mumps. So am I at risk?
You are. You actually are. And how long ago did she come down with them?
No, they just found out yesterday. So.
Well, today would be a great day to get what's called an MMR booster. That's measles, mumps, and rubella booster. And the truth is for measles, you actually have about 3 or 4 days to get that in you before you'll be likely to come down with the disease. Mumps, I'm not sure on the exact days, but I know doing it now in the first few days reduces your risk of ever having a real problem with the mumps. But yeah, you could contact who we were on the show with last week. It's South Central Public Health District right on CSI campus, and I think today is the day to get that for you.
And again, if people too also would like to contact your office, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, our office you can contact most easily by telephone at 933-4400. You can also reach us on Facebook at Tripp Family Medicine, as well as our website, which is trippfamilymedicine.com. So any of those are all good access, but most immediate would be the phone, 933-4400.
And we have another caller with us. You're up next with Dr. Jonathan Tripp from Tripp Family Medicine on News Radio 1310 KLIX and News Radio 1310.com.
Hey, good morning. Are you taking new patients?
You bet we are. Tell me, all your secrets so the rest of the world can hear. No,
Okay, thanks.
no, but we'd be happy to. In
All
fact,
right.
if you have family, we'd love to see the kids.
Yeah, we had 2 doctors, and they got too busy to see anybody, so we're looking for somebody else.
Good deal.
All right, thanks.
Sure thing.
Want to thank you for the call as well. And you're looking for some people too.
I am. I'm actually continuing to look for staff in the way of nursing. We're looking for a mid-level practitioner, either a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant. We had a caller last week that has a daughter in Arizona at a physician assistant program that we're talking to, but we're looking for somebody kind of soon as we can. And so if you know somebody or have a family member that you'd like to get them to move to Twin Falls, give us a call. We'd love that.
We were talking about skin issues earlier and sunburns and how sometimes that can lead, obviously, increase your risk for skin cancer. I know that when I was a younger fellow and I was taking my daughter and niece to amusement parks, and we'd always lather up in this. And my sister always said the higher the SP, the better. And so we'd go with 30s to 50s. And the only thing was when you'd get into the water park, it would all run into your eyes and sting.
Yep.
But we would stand in the parking lot as soon as we got there, and everyone would lather up with all of this. The kids didn't necessarily like it, but there's some of these sunblocks better than others, right?
Yep. No, I have spent a long time hating sunblock. So if anybody out there thinks I'm just the preacher of sunblock, and I have looked for sunblocks that work well. They have gotten better as far as more tolerable in the application. There's a lot of spray-ons that are quick and easy for moms to put on wiggly kids. Sometimes those sprays are great, but other times the chemicals in them are irritating to the skin, especially if you get them in your eyes, that's trouble. But there are better ones that are more truly waterproof, that don't drain down in your eyes, but also give good coverage. And you are looking for a higher SPF. I'm trying to think of the website. Skincancers.org, I think, is the website, but they talk about an SPF of 15 being the minimum, and I would actually say anybody should be looking at a 30 or above. In fact, in our office, because I'm so picky about the sunblocks and how they affect sensitive skin and how they look, because of my background in cosmetics for about 5 years, there's no woman that wants to put sunblock on her face that's going to mess up her makeup. So I have actually 3 different types of sunblock in my office that range from a 30 SPF to a 50. Mineral makeups are by far, they're much better. In fact, if you remember the 80s, they had movies, Baywatch, I think, was one, where you see the lifeguards with the green or pink or white nose covered in zinc oxide. Well, zinc oxide has been micronized so well in the cosmetic lines that you have no idea it's even on your skin. So zinc, titanium dioxide are elemental, or they're mineral, kind of like mineral makeup that you put on, doesn't actually absorb in the skin but reflects the sun. That's the most skin sensitive friendly sunblock, and they don't look all white. I have a great pink hue to my skin, or a reddish hue, especially if I'm burned. You put on the old zinc oxide or any sunblock that had more than about a 15 SPF, and I looked like a whitewashed version of a ghost. And so that wasn't very socially attractive as a teenager. So these are much more socially acceptable. Nobody knows you have them on. You can wear your makeup and you're still getting a 30 or 50 SPF. So really good quality. So yeah, they're not all sunblocks are the same.
I know last time I got a really bad sunburn after leaving a parade, I stopped at a drugstore and ran inside, bought some aloe gels, put it all over my face, and it was soothing. But in the long run, does it actually do any good, or should I get checked up?
Well, that's a good question. I love aloe. In fact, if I had my way, I'd tell everybody to have an aloe vera plant, and when you get a sunburn, you just break that piece of the plant off and rub that straight aloe juice on you. What's available commercial is often a gel, and you just have to watch the amount of alcohol that's in it, because sometimes that alcohol stings. But
yes,
I think aloe is a great immediate treatment after a sunburn. A cool shower the same day helps a lot to avoid further burning, because it takes the heat out of the skin. But as far as what to do long term, really is if you've had sunburns, you need to get your skin checked to make sure you don't have precancers or cancers that are getting started. And precancers are often just a little flakiness of the skin that keeps coming back. It's a little spot, you think, oh, I'll just pick that off and it goes away. 2 weeks later, the same spot's back. That's usually a precancer.
It's 8:52. You're listening to Better Health with Tripp Family Medicine and Dr. Jonathan Tripp. Joining me, Bill Colley, on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. 42 at our studios. If you have a question or comment for the doctor, too, as well, you can give us a call at 736-0300. That is 736-0300. And, of course, as he's pointed out, there are room for new patients at his office. I know that some people are finding it difficult in this day and age, especially when they lose a physician. My last one retired.
Yeah.
And when that happened, the search for somebody new isn't always easy, is it?
No, and I just reassure patients when they ask if we're staying, I let them know that I still have huge student loans and my retirement is a long ways away. So I'm not a threat to leave very soon.
When he quit, I remember looking him up online and discovering that he had been practicing medicine for 60 years.
Yeah.
So people are concerned about a lot of these issues. You had a couple of other things, too, I know you wanted to mention this morning about the amount of sun you get and the importance of that. And, of course, we keep hearing about vitamin deficiencies. When I go for my blood work, it always comes up that I need more vitamins of different, vitamin D, vitamin C, and various things. But how do people go about getting additional? Vitamin D is not something that you can just pop a pill for, right?
Actually, you can. That's the traditional way has been supplemented in food supply, like our dairy industry supplements with vitamin D3. That's an excellent source, but it's not enough for almost everybody in Idaho. It's really been interesting to me because I don't think of Idaho as a cloudy state, and yet from about October to April, we have high cloud coverage that not only that, but also our colder weather during the winter, at least most winters, maybe not this one, but almost everybody I've checked in Idaho, and I've checked hundreds in my practice, are low on vitamin D. Healthy, sickly, old, young. In fact, I finally got so convinced that everybody was low. My family had been here for about 2 years, and I checked my entire family, and even my young teenagers that were outdoors active were low in vitamin D. So although the insurance company won't pay to initially check it, vitamin D affects for sure bone density, but for a lot of people, it has a direct effect on mood. In fact, we have a condition called SAD, or seasonal affective disorder, which has to do with low amount of sunshine, low light, low sun exposure during the wintertime, and it's especially bad in northern climes. And what the reaction to that is you feel depressed. So you feel less depressed if you have more light, sun exposure, and more vitamin D. And so we can treat that with over-the-counter vitamin D or a prescription vitamin D2. My preference after doing quite a few follow-up laboratories is I get better results with the over-the-counter, but I have a very specific regimen. It's not just one size fits all.
I know that I saw a story in Newsweek probably 15, 20 years ago where when it came to SAD, they were literally taking these bright lights and having people sit in a chair in front of the light for about half an hour every day, hoping that that would turn that around a bit.
There is some truth to that. In fact, I know from helping medically in the Air Force that the Air Force bases in Alaska use light therapy and actually require it of most of their personnel that are there because they have, 6 months of very low light. And I'm happy to be in Idaho instead of Nome, Alaska. So, but vitamin D is a big deal. It has some things that it's proven and a lot of things that it's purported to help with. Some of the things in small studies include even improvements in your cardiac health, decrease infection rates. But the biggest things I know of are the bone density, which is important, and the moods. And it's not a panacea that cures everybody's bad mood, but it sure helps a lot of people.
I want to point out Dr. Tripp, of course, joins us on Wednesday mornings between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. However, if you don't get a chance, a lot of people are out driving or doing something else right now, and you hear something and you have some questions or comments about that, or you'd actually like to schedule a visit. That's, of course, not always easy to do if you're driving down Interstate 84, but if people do have a question or comment, they can call the office, right? And they can perhaps get someone on the phone to help them out.
Absolutely. We have an excellent nursing staff. My front desk fields questions that are often thought to be only answerable by the physician or my physician assistant, but I have an excellent staff that really do a good job of fielding questions in general. And they'll tell you whether you need to be seen or not. So that helps with really answering the question. Something else I wanted to bring up is as we go forward with our Wednesday morning Better Health radio programs is I'm looking for the interest of the moms. We really want to know what moms want to know about, so we hit the topics they're looking to know about, whether it's about the mom or whether it's the children or family members. What are the topics that interest you? What would you like to know about from a healthcare point of view? And so you can let us know. Facebook is probably the best way to just make a post and let us know, you'd like to hear about whatever. It could be, health. It could be about how you eat. It could be, when do I call the doctor?
Or as the one woman mentioned, mumps. I mean, obviously infectious diseases have been making somewhat of a comeback, and if you're a parent, by golly, you're very concerned about all of that.
Sure thing.
Again, what's the telephone number at the office?
933-4400.
There you go, 933-4400. Doctor, we'll talk again soon. Next week, actually, the topic is weight loss, which is a topic important to some of us. Other than, I guess Rex Ryan got that surgery done, and now he's rail thin. But he went from about 400 pounds to about 180. Other than the fact that he looks like he's dying, it's probably very good for him.
His weight loss is exceptional, even with the surgery. But no, we have some great ideas, and my PA, Russell Singleton, will be here next week to talk about medical weight loss.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. Rebecca Milsoyko from the Twin Falls City Council is on the way following news from Fox at 9 o'clock.